As I get older, talking about games both online and with friends, it gets increasingly rare to find wholly unique games. And today we're going to be talking about a game that clearly looks unlike anything I've ever played before, and that's Mouse P.I. for Hire. This is a first-person shooter, boomer shooter, kind of like Doom. But the unique part is that it is in this 1930s black and white cartoon animated style. And sure, we've seen games like Cuphead before, but this is definitely in a different direction in terms of being a first-person shooter, being in black and white. It is pretty cool, but being unique doesn't necessarily mean something is fun to play, so let's get into that in this review of Mouse P.I. If you're new here, I'm Dustin. Welcome to my channel. Good to have you here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit me with a subscribe, and you can get notified, of course, of all my future videos. And one other thing is I did receive this game for review from the publisher. So first of all, the most striking thing about Mouse P.I., of course, is the visuals. And this is where I think the game nails it. 10 out of 10 in execution. I mean, just saying it out loud on paper, an FPS game that is fully cartoon animated in black and white, meant to look like 1930s cartoons, but also being very noir, is really neat, really cool. And this game's animation mostly shines, of course, in the weapons and the different characters that you run into, all the different enemies, all their different animations for multiple different things. Like if you kill an enemy, maybe their head pops off, or if you use a different weapon like the acid shooter weapon that they melt or burn up. And so there is a lot of really cool animation here. And touching on some of the noir stuff as well, this game is really fun in that aspect too. There's Troy Baker, who is the main character, of course, Jack Pepper, the titular Mouse for Hire, and he does an amazing job, and it's clear this is a love letter to those classic noir films, but of course with its own twist being about mice. And so with this being a noir game, you are going to be solving cases, putting clues up on a board, figuring out how everything interconnects. And while this isn't necessarily like much of a gameplay element, like you're not really going to be figuring out the clues as they're kind of guided and laid out for you as you progress, it's still fun seeing how everything comes together. And that's something that surprised me about this game, is that while it is a shooter, and we'll be talking all about the gameplay, of course, is that there is a lot of story to this game. There are many characters to talk to, different side quests, and so it definitely feels like a fully realized world with different characters in Jack's life. I wouldn't say the story was particularly gripping. There definitely are some twists and turns. There is a lot of cheese puns in the dialogue, maybe too many at certain points, but the story is good. It feels right for what it's supposed to be. And one of the areas that the story comes through and shines through the gameplay is the different locations you go to in this game, whether it's a creepy old mansion with cultists, or a movie studio, or an opera house. There are so many different levels in this game, and none of them feel that alike. But yeah, the story will take you to many interesting places that I will not spoil for you here, but I was very surprised at certain instances. But yeah, buckle up for a lot of dialogue. Maybe, I don't want to say it's too much, but there was points where I was kind of like, okay, let's get on with this conversation. Not that it was bad. I mean, the voice acting was fine, and very good actually. But in between each level, you usually spend a lot of time talking to different characters, learning more about the case. And a few of these conversations can go on for a little bit. So let's talk about the actual gameplay itself. As I mentioned earlier, this is a first-person shooter very much in the style of Doom. And with that, you're going to get a lot of the hallmark Doom weapons and gameplay. There's a dash mechanic, there's a double jump, you eventually get a glide, and along with some other movement mechanics later in the game, and the game will consistently drip feed you more weapons. And I will say that the weapons are pretty standard from what you'd expect from a game like this. A pistol, a pump action shotgun, a Tommy gun, you get a double barrel shotgun, and kind of those archetype weapons are all in this game, but in their own 1930s cartoon kind of way. All of them feel really good. They all have an alternate fire as well. And it does have a little bit of that Doom Eternal feel, specifically when it comes to your ammo economy, where it's not necessarily quite as low as Doom Eternal, but you will be needing to swap between these weapons, not just on the situation, but also based on how much ammo you have, though ammo is very plentiful throughout the stage. And yeah, you play these games for the combat, of course, and this game is mostly combat. There are some levels where there's a little bit of choice involved, whether you want to pay someone off to get into an area or sneak in, but that's pretty few and far in between. This is going to be pretty general as far as you're going in and there's an arena and you're going to be fighting a bunch of guys in order to get to the next area. There are some minimal platforming challenges in the game as well, but nothing too crazy. It is a little weird where you do get some movement abilities pretty late into the game, and it feels like they were kind of underutilized because you got them so late into the game. There's also a full weapon upgrade system in the game where you find blueprints in each level. You take them back, you upgrade your weapons, and that gives them, more ammo. If you do the first unlock, you get the alt fire ability. And it's nice too because when you do upgrade them, they do change slightly in their appearance. I was surprised by how frantic combat could be in this game just based on some of the earlier trailers that I saw or the demo I saw at Summer Game Fest. This very much does have a little bit of that Doom Eternal feel where I mentioned the dash, the double jump. You can't jump and dash though, but I think that that's a fine limitation. But I did find myself often circle strafing, running around the arena, trying to find health, trying to find ammo, getting up to vantage points, going in, getting close with the shotgun. It all comes together pretty nice for the combat. And with that, there are a lot of set piece moments in this game, whether it's boss fights or special moments where things are getting crazy and you need to get from point A to point B in a unique way that I won't spoil. But it's not purely just combat. There are more interesting things going on, like bosses. The bosses were all pretty cool, but there's not like one boss per level or anything. If FPS combat is your thing, I mean, that's what most of this game is. I mentioned there's like the board where you pin things on for your case. So it gives you a slight feeling of solving cases, but like I said, it's never going to be a big gameplay thing. It's still very linear. This isn't like an immersive sim or anything like that. I found for my personal taste, getting towards the end of the game, I feel like I had kind of had enough of the combat. And it's not that it's bad at all. And there are set pieces that change it up. But I just find with these style of FPS games, by the end, I kind of get satiated. Maybe that won't be you, but in the last few levels, it's like arena, fight, go to the next area, arena, fight, and next, over and over and over again. And so if that's your thing, great. But by the end, it was running a little bit thin. And so while the levels are pretty linear, there are other things to do within them. Sometimes you have side quests, people ask you to do certain things in each level, or you can find the collectibles. There's also an entire side minigame card game. It's like baseball cards. I played this a little bit, but traditionally, I'm not really into card games within games. So if that's your thing, they have a whole card game for you in this. One odd thing I found about this game is that there is currency, money that, drops from enemies or you find on the ground, or there's safes that you can unlock. There's a safe mini game that for doors or like locked doors, safes where you push your tail through and unlock things. It's all right. You do it quite a bit and they're not very challenging. But anyway, the money is that you get all this money and there's a store outside of Jack's office where you can buy the collectibles or the cards and also ammo. And if you want to collect everything, I mean, this is great. But I found it odd that you could buy ammo. There is so much ammo in every level. I never once felt like I needed to buy any ammo. I mean, maybe if you're on the hardest difficulty, I played just on normal, maybe ammo is way more sparse, and that's something that's needed. But other than buying a few of the comic strips and a few cards, I really never needed to use money the entire game. Another thing that really surprised me is that once you complete this game, that's it. There is no other options on how to play the game other than the story mode. You can play through the story again, of course, but as far as I could tell, there was no new game plus. Like, I booted up my old save and it just put me right at the very end. There's no kind of challenge rooms or anything like that. There isn't even a level select to go to. So if you want to return to a level again, hopefully you have a save of that, or you're just playing the game again. So a new game plus would be very welcome to go through. Maybe you play on the higher difficulty and you have all the weapons unlocked from the beginning, or some kind of challenge room, stuff like that. I don't want to harp it too much for that, since it is, I think, a $30 game. So I'm not expecting like the full gambit of options, but giving it some way to give it a little bit of replayability outside of just a whole new save would be nice. So to sum things up, Mouse PI for Hire, in terms of its visual execution, is a 10 out of 10. Fully realized between all of its different weapons, its characters, its environments, doing it all in black and white, the noir look. It really is awesome and really unique. You've never played anything like it. In terms of the gameplay, it's pretty standard as far as a boomer shooter goes. There are some unique ways that the weapons look or how they present themselves, but they are kind of the archetypes of those other games you've played before. And if you like shooting, you're gonna be doing a lot of shooting in this game. I think it would have been cool if there was more of an emphasis on some player choice or the ability to solve the cases yourself instead of just kind of having the game guide you along. But the game does do a good job keeping things fresh in terms of the environments and the set piece moments within them. Also, another thing to point out is that the soundtrack of this game is excellent. It's got awesome jazz music and some other 1930s tracks to them that all feel right at home. And I never thought I would want to play a shooter game where I'm running around like crazy to jazz music, but it works really well. And that's it for this review of Mouse PI. Pretty cool game that I recommend checking out if you love FPS games, but don't expect too much outside of an FPS game, other than, of course, the amazing visuals. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure, as I said earlier, to hit me with a subscribe. Appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.